representing Polygram Records, and I was doing a deal with Frank Zappa. For Frank Zappa, he was going to deliver 5 albums. And I'm negotiating with the Frank Zappa's attorney, and I asked him a question. I says, have there been any other deals done on these albums? Are they committed to anywhere? I said, no. Something may be suspicious about it. I called Warner Brothers. Turns out that he made a deal with Warner's while I'm negotiating for Polygram for the same product.
Okay, that's just purely underhanded.
I haven't talked to that attorney since. That's been probably 40 years.
Okay. So on the manager side, and I just remember this, I'm going just from memory here, because I always remembered, I think the issue was, and the law changed, and I think maybe you helped get the law to change, where a manager actually was taking an interest in the band partnership, 20% or whatever it was, and ended up owning the name of the band.
No, I didn't have anything to do with change of the law. I think this had to do with Matthew Cates. It had to do with the Jefferson Airplane. An awful thing happened with Elvis Presley, with Colonel Parker. There have been these managers. Oh, and Patty Page was another one that the manager had a contract 50% for life, and she couldn't get out of the contract. I was called to testify in that trial as an expert witness.
When was that?
Oh, I don't know. It's a long time ago.
So what happened?
Huh?
Yeah, what happened?
What happened was the judge ruled that there's no such thing as a contract for life at 50%. And
who was the attorney on the other side of that didn't understand that?
I don't remember who the attorney was.
So that's exceedingly bad, 50% for life. But what else?
That's what Colonel Parker had with Presley.
50% for life?
Not only did he have 50% for life, but anytime he made a deal with a hotel or a record company, he got money on the side.
What do you mean how do you get money on the side?
In addition to his 50% from Elvis, he said, you want to make a deal with Elvis? Give me whatever.
So he got basically kickbacks from the people on the other side of the transaction?
Correct.
What about, though, in terms of, seems like a conflict of interest if a manager is taking a full membership in a partnership. Partnerships I don't think are used as much anymore now for bands if they use LLCs and whatever. But back in the day, did you saw that from time to time where managers were saying, like, I'll be a full 20% member of this 5-person band or 4-person band. I'm like the 5th member.
No, that one is a little less clear. When the manager becomes a partner in the thing, and so if he's a 1/5 partner, and there's 5, and he's a 1/5 partner, and that's he gets all his money that way. That's probably it's skirting the line a little bit. But if he's not taking things on the side and he's really sharing with them and everything's going well, it's probably okay. Probably. But I'm talking about a different situation where the manager the manager is also the employer. So the manager hires the group to him, and then he's going to also manage.
Well, I've seen situations where managers create their own, quote, record labels, unquote, and, quote, publishing companies, unquote. And that seems to be a conflict of interest to me.
Yes, total conflict of interest.
And have you seen situations like that?
Yeah.
And how have you dealt with that?
Well, I basically advise the clients that this is totally unfair, wrong, and it's a total conflict of interest. I had that issue with issue with, I can't remember the guy who died, the one who discovered I guess the Backstreet Boys, was it? The O-Town and, Lou Pearlman. Lou Pearlman, he's since died. He had all these boy bands. A lot of people came out of those boy bands, where he owned them. Basically, he owned them.
So, and he ended up owning the name too, like for the trademark purposes of the band, and the members effectively just became fungible items.
Yeah, that's happened. It's still happening to this day.
What's a more present day example of that?
Well, I can't tell you about.
Okay. Don't. What do you think about, now you represent The Voice, but even before The Voice was American Idol, and
Right.
a lot of people, I used to remember hearing back in the day, it's like the worst thing you could do is win American Idol, because then you get, you have to sign a contract that's not a favorable contract. Has that changed at all? It hasn't changed. You're being recorded, so shaking your head doesn't do me much good.
No, it hasn't changed.
Did they change? Does American Idol now try to sign like the top 5 finishers? I thought I heard that once. Like in order to, because people were getting wind of like it's better to be in second place than to win. Do you know?
Well, did they change what?
Well, I had heard that like the winner would win a recording agreement, among other things, from
Right.
American Idol, right? And it was always a really bad contract because it was completely one-sided in favor of the, we'll call it the label. I had heard that because there was a lot of, started to become well known that it's better to finish second than first, that American Idol actually eventually changed, was signing like the top 5 finalists to deals as opposed to just
Right.
the winner. So is that true?
I believe so.
And how does The Voice differ from that?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, it doesn't, not, okay. But does the Voice, does the winner of The Voice get a record deal?
I can't talk about it as a client.
I would have thought that was public record. It's not?
Well, then look it up.
Okay, then I'll look that one up. It's just you, me, and the tape recorder. It's not even a tape recorder. It's a digital recorder. So, at some point, I do want to talk about like Cooper, Epstein, and Hurwitz, the start of that. But I'm just going to finish this list here for the moment. You were involved with USA for Africa, and tell me how that all came about. And I know you were the lawyer, but tell me about your involvement in that, because that's just an amazing piece of history in
It is
music.
an amazing piece of history.
So how did that
There was
originate?
I
And just
can't
tell me the
remember
story.
which country it was. I think it was Ethiopia, where there was this extreme drought, and some very famous photographer took pictures of the people there. That came to the attention of Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte said, "We got to do something about it." Felt that he got to do something about it. He placed a call to Ken Cragen, and he said, "Can you get?" Ken was represented, as I was at the time, Lionel Richie. He says, "Can you get Lionel and maybe some others, and let's do a record?" Because somebody did a record in England before, not for Ethiopia, but
That the We Are the World.
no, we are the what we did.
Oh, don't they know it's Christmas? That was the.
Maybe that was it. I can't remember.
That was the one Bob Geldorf did.
It was they did a year before we did, for whatever their purpose was, and so that was to spark the idea. So Ken Cragen called me, and he said, we should put this together. I'm going to start making calls to artists. Can you set up an organization for this thing? And he called Michael Jackson. He called Stevie Wonder, and called a few more. And then artists started calling. They wanted to be part of this whole thing, and so I set the organization up. I still represent the organization to this day, can't remember, it was 84, I believe it was. They recorded at A&M Studios, where all the artists were. I had it all set up. I set up the organization, had contracts for all the artists to sign. The song was supposed to be written. Stevie Wonder never showed up for the writing session, only showed up for the record session. So the song was written by Michael and Lionel. And I made a deal with Columbia Records to release the record. And I had certain provisions. For instance, the retailers could only make $1 on the record, and all of the proceeds, less $1, came to USA for Africa. All of the proceeds from that record, except $1, which went to the retailers. The label, Columbia Records, did not make any money on it. And we raised a lot of money, and then the next thing we did was Chants Across America the following year, in 1985. Between the two things, we raised approximately $100 million, and it was to all go to Africa. And what we did was we hired a 747 and sent Ken Cragen went, and a number of people went. I did not. To Africa to bring. We didn't send money. We sent medical supplies and farming equipment and food and all kinds of things. We sent physical goods, including eventually trucks and cars and things like that, to Africa. As I said, we raised $100 million. To this, and then we put out the record. We put out a video. We did a television show. To this day, we are still, without doing anything and haven't done anything since 1985, $400,000 a year comes in.
Oh my God, really?
To this day.
Through what channels does it even come in through? I don't even...
Because we're still selling records in Japan and videos in Japan, and people license what we have for various charitable purposes. So we're still getting $400,000 a year, and we haven't done anything since 1985.
That's incredible.
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. I was on the board. The original board was Kenny Rogers and Lionel Richie and Harry Belafonte and Marlon Jackson and I said Kenny Rogers, Ken Cragen, Lloyd Gregg, there's a few others. The names I can't remember at the moment. I finally withdrew a few years ago from the board, but I'm still the attorney for it. I don't charge. I've never charged for my fees. The people who work on it in the office, I discount it by 50%. There's still a lot of work to be done for them. It's an amazing organization. It's amazing what we've done.
A couple questions. So I think the other one was, I remember if it was called Live Aid, but that was...
Live Aid was...
was that the... Live Aid, wasn't that the...
There was a
Willie...
I did Net Aid. I did...
what did you do on Net Aid? What was that one?
We did that. That was 12 concerts simultaneous around the world.
For the same purpose? Same charity?
Another charity, yeah. Another charity.
What did that raise money for?
I can't remember the moment.
Who was involved in that one?
A lot of celebrities. I don't remember all the parts. I think I have a poster in there. I do. I can't remember all the names involved. I did Net Aid, and I did another gigantic one that we went to England. We did it. I was in England. I had attorneys stashed in each venue because I wouldn't let anybody go on the stage unless they signed the contract. One was NetAid. What was, I can't remember. I did two more like that.
Well, there was the one, Don't They Know It's Christmas? That was the one.
That's not ours.
Yeah, no, that one wasn't yours. But was that the one that you were saying preceded yours by a year?
I don't remember what it was.
'Cause
It's easy to find out.
That was like Duran Duran and George Michaels and Culture Club and stuff.
It was not in England by, I forget who. The one that preceded us. It's easy to find that out.
Well, not if I don't know the name, though.
Sure.
NetAid I can look up.
I don't remember the other ones I was involved in, big ones like that. We did one with the UN. I did one with the UN.
You remember what that was called?
No, I don't remember. I got posters on those things. I think in the office and here.
Yeah, unfortunately, posters don't translate well onto a digital recording.
No.
So
I could get the name.
yeah, I'd love to get the names of that stuff. I want to get. I'm going to follow up and get the names of that. But
Well,
what
let
was?
me see the name of the one.
All right.
Let me see the name of the one that's on the wall.
Let me pause this. Or is it on the wall? Well, then I could go look at that while recording. Right? Exactly. Just for the record, we are going into my room.
No, this was not yours. Yeah, this was yours.
This was very much my room.
Here's that, eh?
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me get in there because I can't see from here. I don't have my glasses. Okay, so NetAid. NetAid.org. 40 million hits from 160. This is for log on fight poverty.
1999. October 9, 1999.
And which one is that one? Oh, that's also NetAid.
Yeah.
I can't tell who was involved in this, but it looks like this one says, Jay Cooper, it was an honor to work with you and the rest of the NetAid team to take fight against extreme poverty online. Rock on, that's the important part. Cheopak, Leonard, Schechter and Associates, and Greer, Margolis, Mitchell, Burns and Associates. I don't really know who any of those people are, but maybe I'll look it up.
Then I got two more of these in the office of different ones.
Well, I'll ask Laura. I'm going to see Laura on Thanksgiving up here, in fact, so I will ask her. All right, so let me get to the last few questions here. Just pausing for a minute. I am... I'll wait for you. I am curious.
You are curious.
I am a curious person. Were you at the recording session for USA for Africa?
That was stupid to me, but I had meetings and meet them in January in Cannes, France, and I went there instead of being at this recording session. I'm sorry, I missed it.
That sounds like a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
When we talked a little bit about the Grammy Awards and your involvement with that and the Recording Academy. I think I asked before, but I can't remember what the answer was but I want to just ask it again because you, as always, are a bit reluctant to talk about things like accomplishments. But as the president of the Recording Academy, what would you think was your biggest contribution or your biggest accomplishment there that you're most proud of?
I survived it. I don't know that I did anything spectacular. I don't know. It was an interesting time in Recording Academy. I was in negotiation to put the Hall of Fame in Burbank, and it was really proceeding. And then Proposition 13 got adopted, where I have personally benefited by Proposition 13, even though I have nothing to do with it. We're limited the taxes on from raising on houses that were bought.
That was the Howard Jarvis.
Yeah. So we lucked out, but so that took away a lot of tax dollars, and so Burbank then had to withdraw their offer to build the Hall of Fame there. There is one now. It's downtown Los Angeles, but it took a lot of years to get it done.
Well,
but I'd say I don't know that I don't know that there was anything particularly outstanding that I did as president.
well, what did you hope to do? You were elected to the board of government. I mean, you worked your way up. You talked about how you got elected, but when you did run for president, and somebody suggested, what did you want to accomplish by doing that? What was your goal there? When you said, I'd like to be president of the Recording
Academy. I didn't say I'd like to be president of the Academy. I was nominated. I was nominated for the position. I didn't ask for the position, and so by the board from the LA chapter wanted me to be the president.
What, did you not want to be?
I guess I did not want to be, but I didn't campaign for it, or because there was no campaign. We were at a meeting. The annual board of directors meeting, if you will, or trustees were called. The annual trustees meeting, and I was nominated.
Okay, so aside from that, here's something I have to believe you have thoughts on, because this is something that, 1 in 10 million people in their lifetime can experience, and maybe 1 in 100 million people can ever say. But you spoke on television for the Grammy Awards 2 years in a row. I remember it, so you can't deny it. I was in the audience as a little kid. What was that experience like, speaking on television as the president of the Grammy Awards?
I don't know. I didn't think much about it. I didn't think much about it.
Well, you're standing there with all the cameras on you on the stage, and this was a big deal even back then.
Yeah, but I had a little speech.
I remember you speaking.
I had a little speech, and I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it particularly.
Was that something that you're proud of? It seems like an impressive moment for anybody's career.
Well, it was a lot of fun.
I bet it would be a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it.
Well, because I guess that's... Well, let me, before I ask what's going to be just about the last question, but you also were asked to speak. I want to ask about two things. You were asked to speak at the Chinese version of the Grammy Awards.
Correct.
What was that experience like? You went to China.
We went to China. We had Chinese food.
Yeah. There it's just called food.
They paid the tab. We went to Beijing. I got there. It was interesting. We landed. It's a long flight. We landed, and they met us at the airport, and they took us right into a press conference. And I sat on the stage with some other participants from the awards thing and answered questions. And then we were taken somewhere else to have dinner. And the next day, I think it was the next day, I can't remember, we were staying in this great hotel, I can't remember, the Grand Hotel I think it was called, and I took a walk over to the Forbidden City over there, had my camera, was taking a picture, and the Chinese policeman came up to me, "What are you doing taking pictures?"
In English?
Huh?
Did he speak in English?
I was speaking in English. I don't speak Chinese.
No, did they speak to you, the Chinese policeman?
Yeah,
With
not
an
well,
accent.
but yeah, they did. I got the message, let me tell you. So the night we go to this venue, which evidently is also used as an ice skating rink. It had a wooden floor on it, and it was freezing cold. It was freezing cold, and then I was told you're going to be presenting an award. So I go up on the stage, and they say, "We'll tell you what to say." So somebody's in my ear giving me Chinese words, and I gave a speech in Chinese, even though I had no idea what I was saying.
To this day, do you not know what you said?
No, I have no idea what I said.
But you made it back safely. You didn't say anything that got you arrested.
And then we had some time off, so I booked us a flight to Hong Kong. I wanted to go to Hong Kong, so we went to Hong Kong. Had a great time in Hong Kong. What a fabulous town that city that is. We had a great time. We were there for 3 or 4 nights. Then went back to Beijing and came home.
That's very cool. And you did it that one time, right?
That was at one time.
How did that come about? Like, why did they reach out to Jay Cooper to give an award?
I was president of the Grammys here, and this wasn't long after that, and they came to me. They asked me if I would like to be a presenter, and their first annual.
Oh, that was the first annual. Okay.
Yeah.
Another just amazing thing, and I know you didn't end up doing it, but weren't you contacted at one point by the Russian government to draft their copyright laws?
No.
I seem to remember you mentioning that.
No.
Okay. Then clearly I'm off base. I don't know where I would have gotten that
I don't know
from.
where you would have gotten that one.
Wrapping up, I know I'm going to focus on the next time or two, whatever. I want to focus on your overall career. I want to focus on, the clients that you've had and your life kind of, stuff. Talk a little bit about France and things like that you enjoy doing. But I want to ask you this, kind of the last question for today anyway is, and just think about this, or if I can ask you next time, you can answer then. But what would you say in the course of your career, music or legal, is your single biggest accomplishment, or the thing that you are most proud of on the one hand, and the thing what your biggest regret would be? And if you want to think about that, you can think about that. We can take it up next time.
I have to think about that.
All right. We will pick up from there next time because we are 57 minutes and 32 seconds in. I'm going to hit pause now, but that is where I'm starting and going off now because I'll tell you the other things I want to talk about next time.